Okay, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so in this episode, I want to briefly try to say something about Fellini's masterpiece of a film, Eight and a Half. It's a film that celebrates the beautiful confusion that is life. And so I think it's something that we can all take some consolation in from time to time. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Well, before I get to the film itself, let me start with this. So there's a really basic problem in life that many of us experience, and it's this. It's the incommensurability of goods or values. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, technically, it means something like when two values or goods can't be compared to each other or be reduced to a common measure. So, for example, I don't know, maybe we're attracted to, say, the value of fidelity, but also to sexual freedom, or to family life, but also to a career, or to art, but also to sport, and so on. So here we have all these values and goods that we want to cultivate in our life, but notice that they're not ultimately completely compatible with one another, right? In other words, they're incommensurable. Now, the problem with this is pretty obvious. In trying to have it all of these different incommensurable goods, we're faced with inevitable conflict. And so presumably, eventually, regret and guilt. For example, there seems to be no way of practicing both fidelity and sexual freedom without experiencing some conflict, and so some anger and some remorse, right? Okay, now notice something here. Notice that it is possible to reduce this sort of conflict. It's possible by just narrowing our definition of what a good life is. That's to say, by making it narrow, we obviously exclude a whole bunch of goods from it. And so we decrease our chance of conflict because of incommensurability. Actually, someone like the philosopher Plato might be a good example here. I mean, he seems to really restrict what the good life consists of. For him, what's worthwhile in the end is the philosophical or the contemplative life, and to want nothing more than to tailor one's life to this. Now, notice what the consequence of this is. All the things that are of concern to most of us, like bodily desires and relationships and social eminence and wealth, well, these are of no value to him at all. No, they are things that are easily sacrificed by the one who aims for nothing more than a life of pure philosophy. So I guess this is one way of solving the problem of incommensurable values and the conflict that comes with it. Namely, just have one big value and nothing else. Okay, well, now the difficulty with this sort of approach is that, again, it just seems too restrictive. It just doesn't do justice to the plurality of values out there and the possible experiences that life has to offer us. And so maybe we shouldn't restrict ourselves like this. Maybe we should open ourselves up more and make the world our province. But now we're back to the first problem, which is that the richer and the more diverse our values and our goods are, the harder it will be to achieve some kind of harmony amongst them. I mean, the more open we are to different sorts of values and experiences, the more we're going to meet with conflict. In other words, the price we pay for richness is disharmony. So, what do we have here at the end of the day then? Well, it seems that we either sacrifice certain goods and experiences for the sake of avoiding the problem of conflict, or we open ourselves up to a more diverse life, but knowing full well that it's going to be one marked by disharmony and possibly regret. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Well, I think that before the ending of the film, before the last big dance scene, something like this has been the main character, Guido's, predicament. I mean, if you've seen the movie, throughout the film, he wants to be both a saint and a sinner, right? And he wants a mother and a lover and a wife. He wants to work and to play, and also at the same time to let go of everything. But of course, he can't make all these things go together. These things just aren't commensurable. Okay, now we know that right before the last big dance scene, Guido has canceled the production of his movie. But as the construction crew is dismantling the set, Guido, who's there on site, all of a sudden comes to realize that actually the show might just be beginning. And that's because he begins to see all the diverse characters from his life walking together and smiling. All the characters that made up his life, but at the same time fragmented it. Ultimately, characters that symbolically represent those parts of himself that he just can't make congruent with one another. So, what does he do? Well, he gets inspired and describes a new film that will portray his true self, no matter how confused it is. He then asks Louisa, his wife, the one that he has been unfaithful to accept him as he is. And he directs her towards that diverse set of characters that made up his life. And what do? Well, they all dance together while holding hands in a giant circle. Now, what is this other than a celebration of the big mess that is living? It's to accept what we feel and what we do and who we are, despite the inconsistencies and the contradictions. And importantly, it's to recognize laughter as the cure to any ill. And to quote Victor Borge, as the shortest distance between two people. So next time we feel down because we just can't seem to pull everything together, let's try instead to take some counsel from Fellini's incredible film, 8½, and just tip our hats to the beautiful confusion that is our life. Bye for now.